being black in America is hard. You can't go outside for a run. You can't go biking. You can't play cops and robbers. You can't go get Skittles. You can't do anything. You can't even drive in a car. It's just really upsetting. Like, I'm tired of people dying. Like, why can't y'all hear us?
Welcome to the Let's Give a Damn podcast, dear friends. I'm your host, Nick Lapara, and this is the show where we champion and learn from people who saw something wrong in the world and gave a damn about it. Pretty intense couple of weeks, huh? If you haven't listened to last week's episode with Lisa Sharon Harper, make sure to set aside some time to do that, please. We have received tons of feedback that our conversation is changing the way so many people navigate these tricky times in the wake of George Floyd's senseless and horrific public lynching at the hands of police officer Derek Chauvin. We will continue trying to figure out how to give a damn during these times with our podcast conversation this week and in the weeks to come. This week, my guests are Kennedy Green, Mikayla Smith, Nya Collins, Jade Fuller, and Emma Rose Smith. That's right, 5 guests. Never done that before. 2 or 3 is the most I've had on. So we attempted for 5, we did it. Here goes. And why these young ladies? Because a week ago, they started throwing together a protest that attracted somewhere between 15,000 and 30,000 people in Nashville, Tennessee, that took place last Thursday. Did I mention that these young ladies are 14 and 15 years old? That's right. 14-year-old girls that said enough is enough and we aren't going to stand around anymore and we must do something. They launched Teens for Equality a little over a week ago and made calls and talked to a bunch of people, and they pulled off the biggest protest in Nashville so far. And friends, I was there. It was incredible. It felt sad. It felt just. It felt righteous. And it was truly a peaceful protest. Now, since the protest last Thursday, they have been going nonstop talking to the media about their story. As of right now, pretty much every major outlet has picked up what they did and what they pulled off. Fox, Huffington Post, MSNBC, and many, many others. The Hill. I even saw Jennifer Newsom, governor of California's wife, tweet about it, Gavin Newsom's wife. I saw Kamala Harris share the story. Who else? This might only hit a few of you, but Haley from Paramore shared the story, and so many others. If you just type in right now, go to Twitter and type in the search bar, type in Nashville protest girls, you're going to see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tweets. And they were gracious enough to give me an hour of their time in the midst of everything that they were doing. Now, just a heads up, these young women are amazing, but they are just kids. This convo gets a little crazy sometimes. I just said convo. I don't know why. Anyway, this conversation gets a little crazy sometimes. At times, they talk over each other. At times, they stumble over their words and ideas. They had just come from 2 interviews and were headed to a photo shoot right after, so they were also tired. So, friends, don't come here. I'm not trying to diminish what you're about to hear, but don't come here for articulate arguments and theories and what should be done right now. Come here to be encouraged that young people are doing incredible things, and join me in applauding their amazing effort. I loved the rawness and the rowdiness and the realness of our chat because it reminded me that anyone at any age can give a damn. Let me say that one more time. Anyone at any age can give a damn. I'm so proud of them. And I'm so excited that they're figuring out how to lead this new community of people at Teens for Equality. Before I begin, I just want to point out that I got to chat with 5 of the 6 founding members. Z Thomas wasn't able to join us, but we honor her contribution in making all of this happen as well. Okay, let's get right into it, shall we? Here's my conversation with the organizers of the largest Black Lives Matter protest in Nashville and the founders of Teens for Equality, Kennedy Green, Mikayla Smith, Nya Collins, Jade Fuller, and Emma Rose Smith. Let's go. Well, thank you so much, young ladies, for joining me here today on the Let's Give a Damn podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, in the last few days, you all have gone from
17 followers on Instagram.
just a few. When I found
strangers.
the account, there were like 1,000, maybe 1,500 or whatever. And now there's 15,000, 14,000,
Yeah.
something like that. So in the last few days, you guys have gone from an idea to having executed a 15,000 person march, right? You created this thing and it took off and people came in large numbers. And now everybody wants to talk to you, right? So it's been a pretty crazy week.
Yes.
Very, very.
Have you guys gotten any sleep? Are you feeling okay?
Nope.
No.
The first night, no.
Yeah, I've gotten like last night. I was like, I'm so tired.
Tell them about your dream.
I was like, I'm gonna go to bed at 11, and then I ended up going to bed at 3, responding to emails and scheduling. And I'm not very good at scheduling, so I've been fired from that. But,
Please tell them
Yeah.
about your dream.
Please. I've been really sleepy because I normally go to sleep at 7 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. I'm
Wait,
a
wait,
night
wait.
owl. And as soon as we got done with the protest, I stayed up all night, and then we had to go on the run. So I had to wake up. I only got 3 hours of sleep yesterday, and then I woke up early today at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm just tired.
imagine going to bed at 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Jade.
No, literally.
I just don't sleep at all, no matter what I'm doing.
Well, that's not healthy. Let me just.
Yeah.
Please tell
We
them
are
about
living
your
a really
dream.
healthy lifestyle right now. We've been a little bit, like we go from having like 4 interviews a day and
Well, yeah.
Photo
Even when you
shoots
guys,
and
when y'all
stuff.
walked in here just now, you had to take like a moment to push back some interviews. You just
Yes,
came from 2
yes.
interviews, and you're going to a photo shoot after. I guess as someone who's a few years older than you all, and by a few I mean a lot, take care of yourselves because this is a giving a damn is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And something big happened that was out of your control. People resonated with it. They jumped on board. Do you guys have an estimate of how many people showed up? I said 15,000.
5,000.
Yeah,
How much?
not
30 up to 35,000 is what
Oh.
60,000.
up to 60,000
It's,
now.
it's different.
We don't
numbers
know.
every
It was
People-
yeah, sure.
People go from saying 60,000 to 35,000 to 15,000. Like it's just
There were a lot of people.
yes,
There
there
were
were
a lot of
just a
people.
lot of people.
So let's go back to the beginning. How did this conversation about a march, a protest, a rally, how did it come together?
Twitter.
So
Yeah, I heard that on Twitter. What do you
Yeah.
mean Twitter? You guys just like
Z put out a post saying she wanted to do a protest, and then Emma Rose and Jay were like they want to do it too. Then that's when Tanaya came along. Then Tanaya brought me, and basically her sister as well.
I don't know where she came in. At the protest.
I hope
Yeah.
I wish she didn't come in.
Yeah, at the
but-
protest we all saw her true colors, and she really
and
shined.
her crying, her ugly cry.
Oh my gosh, they literally took pictures of me crying. It was so embarrassing. I was on the news.
And they posted it everywhere, and I was like,
It's
that's
never
what she
going
deserves.
away.
I was like,
so you talked about having, just a week ago, like you said 17 followers, whether it was
Yeah.
17 or not, like you had nobody knew who you were.
No one.
What was the process of getting that going? So you all talked and said, let's do this, and then what?
I haven't even taken it in yet because I've just been going. I haven't even had a second to sit back and observe what's happened. Like I wrote down a little bit and I keep a journal of when big stuff happens and I wrote down about it for a little bit, but I didn't get to finish it because I was so tired from the protest that day and I was about to fall asleep and it was just I haven't had a second to take it in yet.
So before we talk about the protest, because that was a tremendous day. I have attended many protests in my day, and some are better than others, some are more fluid than others, some are completely chaotic, and some are not so chaotic. And the one that you all put together, kind of on a whim, right, over the course of a few days, was really tremendous. And so before we get to talking about Thursday, because it was Thursday, right? It's been a crazy few days for you all, I'm sure. Before we can talk about that, let's talk about the reason this is all happening.
because we need change in the world. I mean, because a lot of people, they say that we're kids and we don't know what we're talking about, but you have to realize that we are the future. We're the future of this country and we're the future of this world. And as the future, we see problems in the system, and the older generations, they couldn't fix it, so now it's our turn. Now it's our turn to fix these problems.
Yeah, it's if we don't start advocating for change tomorrow, today, we won't have it tomorrow, and we don't want. We know we don't want our children being out there and fighting for the same things that are the black the black community had to, their parents had to. All people of color, all minorities.
Do you know, have you ever gone through like Target or Walmart and seen that brand, the Seventh Generation? It's like cleaning products and stuff.
Yeah, I have.
Right?
Yeah,
you know what that's about?
No.
So there's a Native American belief that everything they do right now, how they live, how they work, what they eat, what they don't eat, how they do everything, they're thinking 7 generations ahead. So when they're talking about the environment, when they're thinking about the kinds of things they fight for, they're not thinking, well, it's just me and mine, and who gives a shit about everybody else?
Right.
It's very much like, no, my kids is kids. I want them to benefit from what I'm doing right now.
We're thinking is like, if we don't because we don't want, like, people of color, their ancestors fought for the same exact stuff for the last 400 years. And it's like, if we don't actually like fight for it really hard now, then like people are still gonna
to do it.
kids will have to do it.
Yeah, it's just a cycle.
Like 7 generations from now too. So it's like a cycle, and so we just realized people are fed up with it. It's like George Floyd's death was like the tip of the iceberg, and
Because you have like Ahmaud Arbery.
yeah,
and
and
You have
like,
all these
a lot of
people
people
down.
who have
So
got
many
justice
people we
yet.
don't even know about.
Well, that's the reality, right? Is I mean, I saw photos from the protest that happened yesterday downtown. I think they estimated 10,000 people showed up, and there's a picture of some police that were there, and they didn't have their cams on, right?
Oh,
So I
that's
asked-
literally
I tweeted-
illegal.
I tweeted at the department and said, "This is great. I'm glad it was a peaceful protest, but where are your body cams?"
Exactly.
You know.
Where are the
body
And so
cams?
the reality is that this is happening every single hour of every single day somewhere in this great country, and most of them we just never see, right? And that's tragic. So I have a question especially for Kennedy and Mikayla and Nya right now, and that is, when this happened, where were you when you found out, or whether it was you heard it or saw that horrible video? Like, where were you when you found out about George Floyd? And
How did that affect us?
Yeah,
I was
like-
on Twitter when I had seen it, and I was like, hold on. Again? Like, it's only been like 2 or 3 months, but again? Like, I was just so mind blown and hurt, and I was like, if this continues to happen, I don't know how I would feel. Like, because every time like I go on Instagram or Snapchat, it's always another black man dead, another black woman dead, another black child dead, and I'm tired of like experience like I don't even know how to feel about it. It's just so mind-boggling. And why does it keep happening? I'm sorry, my mouth is full.
It really upsets me. Like, when I was at the protest, I started crying because it's like when I saw the video, that was like, I feel like the black community, they're tired. That's why these riots were happening. Riots don't happen overnight. They happen when we keep experiencing the same thing. Like, it just breaks my heart that somebody lost their father, somebody lost their son, somebody lost their husband. Like, I'm tired of black people becoming hashtags. It's upsetting. Like, it really makes me want to tear up. Like, right now, like, I'm trying so hard not to cry because it really hurts to know that my people are not valued in the same country where they enslaved us. You know, like, these people that came to America because they wanted freedom, but they took people from a different country and they enslaved them. And exactly, we're not viewed as people. We're criminalized. We experience race.
Over-sexualized.
Yes, it's like we experience it so much. It's like being black in America is hard. You can't go outside for a run. You can't go biking. You can't play cops and robbers. You can't go get Skittles. You can't do anything. You can't even drive in a car. It's just really upsetting. Like, I'm tired of people dying. Like, why can't y'all hear us?
It's okay.
yeah,
Take a small breath.
People are so
Drink
fed
some
up
water.
because justice isn't getting served.
Yeah.
At all.
And it needs to be served. And people think, oh, if we just add body cams, like, that'll fix all the problems. No, people aren't gonna take just breadcrumbs. They want the whole loaf of bread.
well, it would be different, right, if this was, the 3rd or 5th or 7th time, and not the
Like a
50,000th
Like,
time,
right.
right? Like, this one seems to be hitting differently than even with, like,
Yeah, and they still tried to justify.
He said I couldn't breathe.
And he called out to his mom, who was already dead, which shows that he literally knew he was dying. Like, that is
yeah, that
not
was hard.
right.
Like,
It was so
it was
sad.
almost like he was he was leaving.
Oh no,
You know,
literally.
eight minutes in, and he
Like
called
how
for his mom.
and like why do police think they're above the law? Like he literally did that for 9 minutes and people were just watching him. Like for what
And
reason?
then people tried to like intervene. And
Extra angry.
I'm talking about the-
illegal to intervene in those situations. Or like someone, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't care.
Whether it's
I'm a
illegal or
person.
not, when people try to intervene, they
They
end
will
up getting
get-
hurt
yeah.
or arrested or whatever.
Like, and
yeah,
it's
it's
like-
a difficult situation.
You need to like be able to like allow people, if they see something is going on that is wrong, you need to be able to allow people to speak out against it and not just like be like, oh well, they're
Like,
doing
you
this
can't
is
do
like
that, you
they're
can't
being
do that,
violent,
stop,
like
stop.
stop, like that's not right. But like it is right because you're speaking out against something that's happening that's wrong.
Exactly,
And it's-
because the people are the government is supposed to fear the people because we
Correct.
make up the
Exactly.
government. The people are not supposed to fear the government.
We
We have our right to overthrow the government, and that's why we're protesting. But even though we're protesting, we can't even protest. It's like there are a lot of peaceful protests, and like 45 minutes later, after the cop decided to kneel, 45 minutes later, after the press is gone, they like to tear gas people, and I just don't like it.
Yeah, the media presents cops in a way, like in a good light, but in reality, people aren't seeing, especially people who only watch the news, they aren't seeing like the reality that people are being tear gassed and shot rubber bullets because you're supposed to shoot the rubber bullets at the ground and then have it ricochet.
Right, and they're
but
shooting
people
right
have-
at people.
And recently, I don't know if you saw, but a girl who was protesting died because of the tear gas. And I don't know if this is true or not, but she either, we've heard that she had asthma, so the tear gas literally killed her.
Yeah.
But now I'm hearing that she didn't even have asthma and it genuinely just killed her.
Well, 1925 was when tear gas was banned in wartime. In the military.
Not even banned on
So,
just pedestrians.
so yeah, they won't use it in war because it's a chemical agent that
Yeah.
will screw you up, to put it very lightly. And yet, yes, that is a problem. That is a problem that it's being used at all.
Yeah.
The frustrating part, and we could go all over in this conversation. I want to not go all over, but it is very frustrating that I tweeted today that these protests are happening because a cop abused, hurt, and ultimately killed someone. And now those same cops are abusing, hurting, and there have been multiple people, and there it's a wild time. It's hard to figure out what actually is going on out there, right? Because you have people that truly want, I mean, the protest that you all put on was truly peaceful.
Thank you.
And it was very empowering. The stance I've taken on, looting and rioting is like, it's not the best way, but I understand it.
Same.
If I take a beer can and I like step on it, right? It's pressure, tons of shake it up pressure. If I step on it, then it's going to explode, and we don't get to say where it goes, right? The beer is going to get everywhere, right? And so there's just so much going on here, and it was wonderful to, and again, so I understand why and how things are happening, but to attend what you all put on was just truly empowering in so many ways. And so let's get back to the protest. So how did it kind of come about? I know we've talked about how it started and it started to get traction, but like as Jade's mom was saying right before, like there's no rule book for this. You didn't go to school for putting together events. There's no rule book for this. So the reason I'm asking this is because I think a lot of people, especially young people that are listening right now, this podcast is mostly millennials, but there are quite a few young people and older people that listen as well. And well, for everybody, nobody gets the rule book for how to protest well or how to lead something that becomes a pretty big thing. So I'm not asking for super intense detail, but just talk me through like how it happened in the days leading up, and then it happened, and it was huge and it was big.
One thing we did was study the Hong Kong protest because they
Okay.
have a lot of peaceful
Yep.
protests. And they show you how, even if the protest is not peaceful, what to do. So I know like the way we got it out is like promoting and promoting and promoting. I know I reached out to like tons of my friends to repost it, and then of course they reached out to their friends, and that's how I think a lot of the word got spread.
And also just like, if you put it out there that you want to do this, okay, sorry. If you put it out there that you want to do something, people will come to you and ask if you need help. And if you like also go to other organizations, like we reached out to Black Lives Matter in Nashville and we were like, hey, like, can you help us with this? And they're like, oh, sure, but like, what's your organization? And that's how we got Teens for Equality, because we're like, we don't have
Yeah,
one.
we're just
We're like
people.
15, like we're 14 too, and like so we just like made up that name, and now it's like an actual thing, and we're actually using it like to do good and to do more events, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. In a few minutes, I'll ask you kind of what the plans are, right? Because and I know that you probably don't have plans yet. But
Yeah.
what are you dreaming about? So we'll get to that in a second. Day of, I was like probably 15 feet back from where you all stood on the whatever it was up there, podium where the mics were, and kind of
Yeah.
talked to people before. You all said very super helpful things. I think you were Jay, were you the first one up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
just,
you broke down.
yeah, I was.
Like, what were you thinking? What were you? I mean, just looking back, probably was like.
I literally cannot even remember why I started crying because, like, when you're up there, it's, like, so crazy because we expected, because there were a lot of people donating to us to, like, bring us, like, water and masks and stuff. And so I kept on telling all those people, like, oh, we're expecting 800 to 1,000 people. And then when I stood up there to just literally give the safety talk, I saw all the people that literally supported us, like, these kids. And I was like, oh, my God, I have so many, like, friends, I guess. And I just told everybody to like look around at each other and like see the community and like see that this community could change like our governors and stuff and like change the world or America and other places, I guess, too. But I just saw everybody and I was like really, really overwhelmed and so excited to see that so many people cared about the movement.
When I arrived like at 3:30 just to try to get a good parking spot really because I knew it was going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And when I came out, there were already, I'm guesstimating 2,000-3,000 people are already there at that point, maybe more. But then when I finally got home after 7 or whatever clock it was, and I started seeing pictures show up online, I was like, holy shit. Like
I
there were
know.
people, it was so many people.
It was crazy. Because since we were at the front of the entire march, because there's like this banner that people held in the front, and then we were standing in front of
Yeah,
it with the
right.
megaphones, so like starting the chants. We were walking down this hill to get back to the park, like on, I think it was an interstate. We were walking down, and it went all the way, like the road went all the way, and it turned, and it like twisted and winded, and there were still people like turning the street, and it was so crazy to see all those people like just following us.
Yeah, we were like a half mile like down, and we could still people turning the street, and we were like, that's when we really realized like we actually did something.
Yeah. Did anything happen that day that didn't go well that you guys had like, anything you had to
Eating.
quell?
Yeah, eating did
Eating?
not go
You did.
very well.
We had so many cameras in our face, and I only got like a small bite of my sandwich and like a sip of Gatorade.
I got
And
some
once we
goldfish.
started like walking and marching, I felt like I was gonna pass out.
my
I was like,
God.
I didn't even eat anything.
Yeah.
Literally, when I started screaming, I was like this.
No, yeah,
I was like,
especially when we were
I
going
was
up the
like-
hill.
When Jay started crying.
Also, yeah, I started crying because I was like, we were saying, say her name, Breonna Taylor, and I started crying to Nya, and a camera literally came up in my face while I was crying, and I was like, who told
Oh,
you?
They kept swarming around me. I'm like, can I just cry? Please?
Literally.
Like they're like, oh my gosh, it's so good for the press. What about my emotions? Like, you never
Literally.
asked me why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah, like we were eating. Someone had bought us like 30 miniature Jimmy John sandwiches, like not like half, I'd say, but 1/4, and I got to eat like 2 of them. Like I didn't even I barely got to eat any of them because
you got something
there
I
was
ate a
just,
piece of
like, yeah,
lettuce.
I got no food.
There
Piece of
was
lettuce
like
for Jay. Well,
there was
hey,
like so much like there was like a lies newscast in our faces, and they're like, "Can you answer these questions while you're eating?" And we were like, "What are we supposed to do? Be like, go away, no, on like live television, you know?"
Later.
And we were just like eating, and we were just like, I was like, you could see me in the background just eating my sandwich, like eating the background and everything.
well, I'm glad that, I hate that you all didn't eat all that much that day, but I'm glad that that was it, right?
Oh,
Gathering
I've got
15, 20, 30,000 people, whatever
I've
it
got
was.
another thing.
What,
Should
go.
I?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when we were going on Broadway, we walked down like half of it, and there were like a ton of riot police like protecting the bars and stuff. And we were like, we're not going down here because we don't feel like we felt scared of them, so we just turned left and like tried to get away from them. And then probably like 1,000 people after that, like walking, turning, the press came down, like like they weren't in front with us because I don't know, they fell back or something. But the cops only kneeled when the press came around to take pictures because we didn't see them kneel. Like we all kneeled and laid down.
Like 5 minutes on our back.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
on our
kneeling
backs
and laying
kneeling
down,
and laying down,
and people had their
no
hands
one
behind their
joined
back,
us.
and they didn't join us at all. And then once we turned and the press got there, they were all of a sudden kneeling, and I was like, who told you
Yeah,
that was
this
going to be
lady
okay?
was begging this cop to take a knee. And he was like, all right, I'll do it. So him, 2 black cops and 1 white cop, they took a knee, but only because the news cameras were in their face. That's propaganda.
And they were literally right there laughing.
And the thing is
They're propaganda.
Well, that's propaganda.
and I don't get why they kneel if you're not gonna quit. Like, why are you supporting us if you're not actually supporting us? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just
Like, why did they call riot police on 14 to
Well,
15-year-olds?
Because we stopped in front of the police and we all started like laying on our stomachs and kneeling, and like what Jade said, like pretty much like they did nothing because there's no cameras, and also like we thought it was kind of funny that they called the National Guard on 14 and 15-year-olds. Like, literally, what are we gonna do? Like, yell at you? Like, we're not gonna do anything.
What am I going to
Just
do? A
kinda-
banana peel?
Yeah, like we aren't gonna do anything. It's just,
Yeah, I have thoughts about all that as well, but I'll withhold the thoughts. I'm just glad. I'm really, 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 really glad that you all called for peaceful protests and it remained that way. Because I know some of my very good friends were the kind of planners, if they're even planners, for the one that happened on Saturday that ended up getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And my friend Justin Jones, who was running for Congress here, he's awesome. He actually, it was really cool because they put out a warrant for his arrest on Wednesday, on Thursday. It was early in the day before they put out a warrant because when we got to the police station, the central precinct, right over here, there was one cop car in front, which I have a whole theory on why there was one cop car there when they knew that there was a riot coming, or when they knew there were protests coming.
Period.
But either way, like he got on the car right when it was first
We
in
saw
to
that.
talk to people. He wasn't trying to destroy it. It eventually got destroyed, the car. But they put out a warrant for his arrest, and later that day they retracted it. Because Justin's like super peaceful. Like he's a strong leader.
His speech was amazing.
Oh yeah.
You know something I don't understand? The police get funded so much, so why can't they just buy another car?
Well, yes.
I'm not saying destroy anything, but still.
Why
Yeah.
would they put out one car in the very front? In the middle of the
exactly.
street?
Also,
I know.
I won't say anything.
Propaganda.
I'm just saying that some cops in other states have been putting out piles of bricks. And for what reason?
No, some cops have
Are we
also
gonna
been
build?
breaking their own car windows. I've seen the
Please
video of
study
police
Hong Kong
breaking their
about
own
those
car
bricks,
windows. I'm like
please.
this.
Yeah, are we gonna build a
We need to
building?
stop this topic.
Yes, we all, and this is just a really hard time. These are things that we have to wrestle through, and it's really hard because I have a handful of amazing friends that are wonderful humans that are cops, and they are struggling right now with trying to figure out
Why we say ACAB?
what's the way forward.
Okay,
What's-
so you can start speaking up when you see one of your officers doing something bad. Like if they're putting a person in a chokehold,
Yeah.
and you're not supposed to do that. That's why we say ACAB. When we say ACAB, we do not mean all cops are bad. We're saying that the system that they work for is bad.
100%.
Like a lot of good cops, they don't say anything, which makes
Exactly.
them bad. So tell them
Exactly.
if they see any injustice, or if they see the cops doing anything wrong or using lethal force, tell them to stop. It's their job to check their officers.
Yeah, the other day, on that note of we do need more police to speak out when things are going wrong, right? We saw that 75-year-old gentleman in Buffalo, New York.
Yes, that was so
And,
sad.
No.
he did not die.
No.
He's fine, but he did. I mean, he immediately started bleeding out of his ears and stuff. Like if you watch that video, it's horrific. But the one guy does kneel down to start like helping him.
Yeah,
And his superior like pulled him off and told him to keep going. What we need is for that cop to pull off
Exactly.
the arm that's pulling him off and say, no, the right thing to do is to get down and help this guy
How can you do that to an old
who was
man?
Returning. I don't know what was happening because I haven't heard the full story, but he did have the helmet in his hand, so it seemed like he was returning a helmet to them because it was the same helmet they were wearing, the riot gear. Either way, that is a huge first step in separating those that have succumbed to the oppressive nature of being a cop. They're very power hungry, and those that truly want to be peace officers, truly want to help and serve the people that they've sworn to serve. I want to talk about each one of you for a second because I don't think it's an accident that you all found each other. I truly believe everything kind of happens for a purpose and that people are put together on a team for a purpose. And you all found each other on Twitter, of all things. Some of y'all knew each other before, but that's a kind of a fantastic thing. That's kind of a wonderful thing. And so where do you all come from? Where are you in the vicinity? And how, what I want to know is how lots of people felt a lot of things this last week. Right? 15, 20, 30,000 people showed up at the protest. A lot of people felt like they wanted to do something, and most of them didn't. And you all decided, we're going to do something. We're going to do this thing together. So where did that come from? Like, You told me how it happened, but again, most people had inclinations to do that and then they didn't. And this whole platform that I've built, this whole company that I've built, which only part of it is a podcast, is helping people become damn givers, people who see something wrong and give a damn about it. That's the whole thing. That's the simple, it's very complicated in figuring out how to help people do that, but that is it. It's when you see something wrong and you decide to do something about it. And so where did that come from? And you don't all have to share, but if you want to, like, is it your parents, your upbringing? Like, how did you respond to this?
It's hard, like, to trust people when the people that are out here that's supposed to be protecting you and serving you are killing you, kidnapping you. So that's kind of where my motivation came in, because, like, something needs to change. There has to be somebody that we can trust to protect us. So, yeah.
And I was saying, like, also because we saw, like, no teenagers were really speaking out, like, about what was happening. And since we're, like, the future and the face of tomorrow, we needed to speak out about what was happening against police brutality, because, like, we are the future. We are the next lawmakers and the next people in office. And that's, like, our responsibility as that future generation to do what we need to do.
Well, I kind of wanted to do this because I've literally always been so passionate about, like, things that I believe in. Like, I will get so mad at somebody, like, if they don't agree with me, but, like, if they aren't hearing what I'm saying to them. And so when I found out, like, I'm, like, really young, but, like, since I got on, like, all the social medias, I've been seeing the things that are happening to people of color in the Black community, and I just, like, am very, very heartbroken for myself and the Black community. I felt the need to do something. Like, posting and stuff is good, but it was not good enough for me, so I was searching up on Twitter more protests, like, in Nashville, and I searched it up on Instagram, and I saw the flyer, and I was like, I need to do this. Like, it was literally something, like, I felt I needed to do. So, yeah.
Well, I have a brother, and I do know that when he gets older, he'll be a Black man. And sometimes, basically in the system, Black people, they're discriminated against. And that's why a lot of Black people are incarcerated sometimes. But it's just, I fear for his safety. I fear for his safety, especially him being a Black man in the world, when they view you as a criminal or as violent. So I just feel like there needs to be something changed. The government needs to be reformed. The system needs to be reformed. It's 2020. We should not still be fighting for the same rights that people were fighting for in the 80s or in the 60s.
Okay.
I love all of that. Super helpful. So what's next for, I know that you all have been talking about different things on is the Instagram page the only place that people can interact with you all right now?
We also have a Twitter.
Twitter?
We were going to make a
Teens
Facebook, but...
for equality, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. I said we were going to make a Facebook, but we don't know about all that.
Facebook's
No.
For old
people that just want to argue.
I don't know how to
Sorry.
run one of those.
What's that?
I don't know how to work one of those. So.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Facebook's weird.
Let's get on there.
I have them for my companies and for myself, and I don't get on there because it's just every time I go on, social media is frustrating as it is, because it's where people can be kind of keyboard warriors and they can like hurt each other and be very abusive online. And so social media is very toxic, or can be very toxic. But Facebook's a different level of toxic.
Oh my God, I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really?
it's
Facebook moms are scary.
And I feel like it's more for, like, I'm going to save that for when I'm, like, 33, 35 years old.
yeah.
I'm not even going to get it then.
Yeah, no, I'm good on Snapchat.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's going to be gone.
So teens.for.equality on Instagram. What's next? Like, what do you all want to do with this? Because you didn't say, and maybe that was accidental, but you didn't say teens for Black equality or teens for people of color equality. It was teens for equality, and I see you guys have like hinted at different things, and so you don't have to have any plans because this has all been a whirlwind of a week for you all. But I'd love to hear if you guys are thinking about anything else.
Well, I guess I made that name because obviously we want equality for Black people, but when you say Black Lives Matter, I'm thinking Black trans people, Black gay people, Black lesbians, Black, like, all queer people, and I'm talking, and, like, we want to end ICE, like, we want to do really big things. We just want to help all people of color because we know that the system in America kind of is against us, and we just want to help everybody, yeah.
Like, Teens for Equality, like, equality for all minorities, like, any minority at all. Like, it doesn't, like, it's, like, Teens for, like, equality for, like, the Black community, the Hispanics, the Latinos, the Chinese, Japanese.
Yeah, people that have been marginalized.
Yeah, people have been marginalized, like
Natives.
Muslims, Native Americans, indigenous people, and like also like people who are part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And we have like a lot of stuff planned.
Oh,
but,
also for women.
Yeah. Yeah, for a woman, any woman. But like we do have some stuff planned, and it like includes.
Everyone.
You guys
It's
are,
everyone.
You guys are hilarious. I love it.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
we don't have a
God.
lot of
He was
time.
asking about events.
Has this changed your like outlook on life?
Yes.
Like, what were you doing last week that has changed?
Playing Fortnite.
No, literally laying in my
Literally
bed.
laying in my
Just
bed.
thinking about this. Like, I was like, a week ago, I didn't know, well, I knew Kennedy and Tanaya, but I didn't know Z, I didn't know Jade, I didn't know Emma Rose. And then, like, look at us today, we're so close. Like, a week ago, I would not think that I would be sitting here doing a podcast. Or, like, going to a photo shoot later. Like,
Yeah, forget my podcast. You guys have been on much bigger platforms than mine.
We like this the best.
Oh,
Yes.
that's fun. I'm glad.
Interviews are scary.
We give a damn. Ha ha ha.
And I bring snacks too. I don't know if the other interviewer, I don't know if the interviewers brought
yeah,
snacks.
you brought snacks.
Yeah.
I hope this radically changes the trajectory of your life. Not that it has to change your career or whatever. Like, we need people doing everyday things. But what I hope for all of y'all is that as you figure out, you know, what role Teens for Equality plays in your life, that it changes everything. It changes everything because in reality, you all, like, we get one shot at life. Like, literally, we get one. And for so many people in this country, it's over a lot sooner than a full life for a variety of reasons. And so living each and every day to the fullest is something that I really, really, really want for each and every one of you.
This made me want to run for president.
Yeah.
Why not?
Honestly,
Yeah,
she
Kennedy,
should.
you should.
We need more women
In office.
Especially like
No woman in office has caused the war.
Yeah.
No woman in office has caused the war.
Everyone.
Everyone in office.
I don't like when men are like, oh, women are so emotional, but like get so worked up about literally every single thing we do.
Also,
and we're just like,
No woman has caused the war. No
Literally.
woman running country has caused the war. If you can't see that we need women to run, then you're a problem. Then you're just misogynistic.
yeah, I mean,
Read
like,
it.
look, and like, I'd also like to point out the fact that like people caused riots and looting over their sports team losing, and
Yeah.
no one talked about that. And then people are like rioting and looting for like literally their rights.
Exactly.
Like they're like able to like literally be able to step outside without being like, oh, if I get into that car, will I get pulled over and will I get killed?
Exactly, because-
like that's such, and like that is so baffling to me.
Yeah, one of my
Exactly, because-
least favorite examples of that, really, I was going to say favorite, but least favorite examples is when Coach Joe Paterno got fired from Penn State. Joe Paterno's this legendary football coach, and he helped cover up Jerry Sandusky's sex abuse earlier, and so they ended up firing him.
Yeah.
And all of Penn State went up, and I mean, they flipped news trucks, they did all this stuff, and it was like, that was because your favorite coach was going away, even though he covered up the abuse of young boys for years.
Yeah.
And yeah. That makes it hard. That makes it hard to have that conversation when it's like people are again. I don't think that rioting, looting accomplishes the goal as well as nonviolent. I should say nonviolent protest does the job, but I understand it. I understand it. Like I feel it.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone that is not. I'm a son of a Latin immigrant, but like I'm pretty pale skinned. You know, I fit in with most people, and I feel it so deeply when these things happen.
Same.
Because riots don't come overnight. I mean, when you think about American history, nothing has came peacefully.
It's
Exactly. Also, I just feel bad that they have been silenced for so long, and now that we're trying anything, everybody has something to say about it. I'm like, it's really not even your place.
Okay. Exactly. That's what everybody said. They keep saying
Yeah.
MLK wouldn't want this. I have never heard more racist people say MLK wouldn't want this, MLK wouldn't want that. Do you know MLK? MLK was assassinated for being peaceful.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you want us to? What do you want us to do? When we're peaceful,
And
it
then-
goes back. But when we riot, you guys want us to stop. When you're trying to get the attention of somebody who only speaks violence, you have to speak violence. Now we're speaking violence for making people uncomfortable. Well, maybe if we're making you uncomfortable, then you should confront your own internal racism.
exactly.
Yeah, and also like
But we also low key don't support racism or violence.
Yeah,
Also,
we don't.
like-
Yes, totally.
That's why.
after the assassination of MLK, there was like 6 days of rioting, and on the 6th day of the rioting and looting, the civil rights act was passed. I just like to say like stuff does stuff can happen. Like
It's sometimes
'Cause the
the,
government-
the,
it's
the
a
uncomfortable
solution.
process
Yeah.
of
Exactly.
getting shit done.
yes,
Really.
like literally like that's how you get a lot of stuff done. Like I'm not condoning it, but
Like, I was just going to say, like, there's no right way, and I know I've said this before, there's no right way to, like, bring about a change, but I do know that silence is not the answer.
Exactly.
It's like, it's just taking the side
So
of the
many
oppressor.
colored people have been silenced. I'm not just saying just black people, because a lot of people, they're saying, you guys only care about black lives. No, we do not. I advocate for all. If I see a
Same.
problem with the system, I'm going to advocate for you. I'm just saying,
Exactly.
after we win this war for Black Lives Matter,
ICE
ICE is
is next.
next.
Right.
We're going to conquer ICE.
Yeah.
I'm being so serious.
You will become water.
Exactly. And also, when we say Black Lives Matter, we do not mean only Black Lives Matter. We never said only
No.
Black Lives Matter.
Right.
We're just saying see us, hear us, notice us, see if there's a problem with the system. Exactly, because a lot of people say, you guys only say Black Lives Matter when a white person kills a black man. Well, maybe that's
Yeah,
because half the time when a
skin
white person kills a black man, it's based on his race.
Exactly.
A black man never kills a black man because he's black.
Exactly.
Can I do something here as we begin to wrap up? I want to do something here that I've actually never done. I've done hundreds of interviews, and I've never said what I'm about to say, which is, can I give you all some advice?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I do that?
We need it.
Because
Yes.
here's a little bit about me, because you all don't know me. I've been doing the kind of work that you're beginning to do since around the same age. When I was 12, I lived in Guatemala, and I started giving a damn as a 12-year-old.
King.
And I'm 36 now, and
My king.
I am old. So I am 20. How many years? 24 years of figuring out how to help, serve, and love people. And I've made lots of mistakes along the way. So I would love to just share a few things that I'm still, this is not stuff that I've learned. These are still things that I'm wrestling through. But I see the passion, I see the desire, I see what you all want to accomplish. And if I can use my 24 years of failing and getting back up to kind of help you as you begin your journey, I would love to. So just a couple things that I wrote down that I would love to share with you. One is, and it's very easy, especially with topics like what we're talking about, Black Lives Matter. It is so easy to put down, antagonize, and be hateful toward the other, whoever the other is, whatever topic we're talking about. We are trying to win people over, right?
yeah.
We want them. We might vehemently disagree with who they are and what they're doing at the moment, but we want them to come over, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to see people, every single person, you all, even at 14 and 15 years old, and me at 36, we are all on a journey. My friend David Dark, who is much wiser than me, he says to love a person is to love a process. To love a person is to love a process.
Period.
We're all in process, and if you hate the process that someone's going through, you don't actually love them, because we're all figuring it out. At 5 years old, at 10, 15, 50,
Yeah, it was.
and 90, we're still figuring it out. So I say all that because it can get so easy, especially on social media, and you guys are going to encounter that with your Instagram and your Twitter and interacting. People are going to come on and they're going to try to push buttons and antagonize you. Remember, we are trying, not that we can't stand up and be bold, but we're trying to win them over to what we believe is right. Number two is, and again, this is not reflective of our conversation, but remember, you don't know everything. And I can say that at 36, I don't know everything. We need to be students.
Right.
Like right now, start reading the books, listening to the podcast. I mean, I'm so glad you're 14 in 2020 and not 14 in 1920, because
Yeah.
Oh, God.
there is such a wealth of information out there.
Yeah.
YouTube is everything. There are lectures, there's so many amazing things out there for you to devour, so that when it's time for you to speak up, you have something to say. And when they push back, you've got something to say back.
Yes.
Right? And so just begin to be students of culture and society in the world. And I think so many times, here's what I've seen is when I've gotten pushback, even the last couple of weeks, when I've been defending this incredible movement that's happening right now, I see that I'm dealing with people that are weak historians. They don't know their history.
Exactly.
They're basing on, they see one black man getting choked to death by a cop, and then the riots and everything happening after. And it's like, no. That's weak history, to not see that this is another release valve of the tens of thousands of black people that are being, treated poorly and ultimately killed. And like there's 400 years of history, and all of this stuff going on that you're not taking into account. It's not just this one thing. And so we have to become strong historians. And then the kind of third thing, which this will help you so much, not just as you become damn givers, but just in life. Be so quick to apologize.
Yeah.
You are going to ultimately say something wrong. You're ultimately going to say 100 things wrong. Things that you don't mean, or it came out wrong, or you just didn't know and then you learn more information. Be the first one to apologize. If you can get ahead of it and say, I messed up, I said something wrong, I did something wrong, I thought it was the right thing to do in this situation and it wasn't, people are going to respect the hell out of you. Nobody wants a perfect leader that can't make a mistake. One of the most unattractive things about our current commander-in-chief is his inability, that's a very fair reaction, is his inability to say, I'm sorry. His inability to say, I messed up. That is a quality that every person, every human should learn to cultivate. So if you can cultivate it at 14 and 15 and 16, and you can speak boldly and then be the first one to say, man, I messed up. I shouldn't have said that. You will be respected by so many. And you'll have a voice as you grow into who you're becoming. Who you already are, but who you're becoming as a leader in the world. So those are, I have so much that I would love to share, but those are just 3 things that I think if you can just kind of think about those and mull on those, because again, you guys are in all these interviews and you're figuring out what's next for Teens for Equality, who we're going to talk to, which issues we're going to go after, and they're all important, and you can't do everything, and so you're figuring out where do we focus and how do we do this well. Remember, you're trying to win people over. You're not trying to, you want more people on your side. We want more people believing in this movement, but hatred and antagonizing and calling them worthless and terrible things because they're not at this point in the journey is they're going to go away and never come back. And remembering that everybody's on a journey and remembering to apologize.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I won't apologize, but what if they don't ever come to the journey? Like, what if they don't ever do the journey?
Yeah, that's on them. That really is. Now we're getting into like existential questions about like, is there an afterlife and what does it look like and how do people, where does it ultimately end for people, right? The journey of them being able to evolve as a human and get to a place that I think God wants them to be, right? A person that loves other people and serves other people. And so it's on you to be the bigger woman in this case and say, your journey is your journey, but I'm going to believe you're on one. I'm going to believe you're somewhere along the way, and I'm going to treat you like you have worth and that you are on this journey. And you're going to feel better at the end of the day. They might do some shitty things and say things about you and react certain ways. Like, that's on them. But you're going to sleep better at night knowing that you treated them with dignity and respect, even if they didn't deserve it, because they're not in the place in their journey where they should be. So I just hope that's encouraging. I didn't mean to get like preachy or whatever.
That helps so much.
Yeah.
I really just over.
I'm so proud of y'all that like some of these things are happening. Like, so I just want you to like go into it with like a level head, and I'm sure you're getting great stuff from Mom and the people that are around you. But I just wanted to be helpful. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, can you send that to me?
Please.
Because I want to send it to the group chat so that we can just like reread it.
I will. I'm so excited for y'all. We live in Nashville. If you ever need anything, any support, I'm here for y'all. And I'm so excited to kind of like observe the journey from social media and otherwise. I'll attend everything you guys put on.
Yay.
I'll be there to support. But I'm so excited that people get to listen to this because again, young people are usually figuring it out. They haven't figured it out. And like you said, a week ago, y'all were just like chilling, like 3 months of COVID. And then you're like, okay, it's summer break finally, but it doesn't feel like a break, right? Everything's weird right now. Now you've been thrust into this. So I want more people to put themselves in the path of being thrust into giving a damn. Because you all could have ignored that and you didn't.
I like your shirt.
Oh, thanks.
I love your tattoos. I was gonna say.
I really like your shirt because it's just like people are like, oh, I'm praying for you.
I'm like
I'm telling you thoughts and prayers, and it's like
we need some action.
You're like, actually, we need to do this.
I'm making more of these because I made
would love some.
I'll get them to you. I made some and then they got sold out, and then I didn't make some, and people always ask for them. So I literally am talking with my printer right now about making more because that's the idea right there. It's like I'm all for thoughts and prayers. I believe prayer works,
right,
but prayer then requires action.
Exactly.
Like, you have to get up and do something.
Yeah.
So grateful for y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
So much. It was such a pleasure.
That's the show today, my friends. Many thanks to Kennedy Green, Mikayla Smith, Nya Collins, Jade Fuller, and Emma Rose Smith for joining me on the show. Thank you all for listening. I created this show. Chad Snavely produced it. Let's Give a Damn is part of the Matter Media family. We're so grateful for their partnership. I'm sending lots of love and peace to each one of you. Stay safe as you're protesting. I hope you're protesting. Bye for now.